And then start. And then
Since it's a very small crowd, I'll quickly go over our organization, what we do, and then I'll hand it over to the speaker. He's actually going to talk about his work, so introduce himself. So make sure your cell phones are on silent mode. So we try to meet first Sunday of every month, and our mission statement is to promote dialogue by which Dharmic philosophy, culture, and traditions can positively influence global consciousness. Bharatiya Vichar Manch is an intellectual forum. We started in March 2010, and this has been our 9th year. The framework is most of our topics are India-centric topic, or we talk about Dharmic philosophy, culture, and traditions. These lectures, we usually try to meet at Cerritos Library, but if sometimes venue is not available, we go to Sanatana Dharma Mandir. We used to do it in Cal State Fullerton also. So the idea behind this forum is that it's a bridge between academia and our non-academic community. So the ideas don't stay in textbooks. People who are attending the lectures, they're highly intellectual, entrepreneurs, professionals, and even our speakers, they are very accomplished people. Our lectures are free, and we usually don't ask for donation, but I'll go into a little bit. Our guiding principles are, whole world is one family, truth is one, wise described in different ways, and let everyone be happy. Bharatiya Vichar Manch is part of RSS, and we call it HSS, Hindu Swayam Sevak Sangh in India. Hindu Swayam Sevak Sangh in US and RSS in India. And it was started in 1925 by Dr. Hedgewar. Many other, offshoot organizations. This is, I already went over. And these are pictures of some of our past speakers, Subramanian Swami, Rajiv Malhotra. And I'll be passing on a contact information update sheet if you want to sign up for our program emails. Just make sure that, a lot of time your address is already in our subscribers list, but sometimes emails get bounced to junk and spam folder. And our budget is around $5,000 per year, $150 for the India Journal ad, $170 for the library, and some video editing. And sometimes we do reimburse speakers for their travel and lodging expense. And if you guys want to donate, make sure you write a check in the name of HSS. You can give it to me. But we normally don't ask for donations. We did once or twice. And all our expenses so far are being paid by HSS. And if someone wants to sponsor their ad for, let's say, our ad is for 6 months, then we can actually work something out. We can put it at the top. They're sponsored by it, and we give the ad in India Journal. And that's it. Now I will invite our speaker who's going to actually talk about his work as well. So please give a big hand to Dr. Shive Chaturvedi.
Om Sri Gurubhyo Namo Namaha. Om Sri Radha Krishnabhyam Namo Namaha. I bow down to all of you. I express.
Better so that it has.
I think everyone can hear me.
For you.
Yeah,
No.
I don't need.
Okay.
Yeah, I bow down to all of you. Welcome back to this Vichar Manch, and I express my deep gratitude to the Vichar Manch to invite me to share some of my experiences. And I have known my good friend Dr. Sinde for probably more than 30 years. And as far as this HSS is concerned, I have been the faculty advisor to Hindu Student Council organizations, Hindu Yuva organizations, and Hindu Natya organization and many other organizations. And I took retirement just 4 years ago from this place to devote more and more time towards the Vedic wisdom traditions. I am also a Veda-Yoga-Dharma thinker and practitioner, and I have been doing this for the last 39 years since I came over to this America in middle of 1980. Directly from IIT Kanpur, joined University of Florida in Gainesville, that's the Gators, and then from there moved to University of Missouri Aurora, and finally moved to Ohio State University, where I was primary department was the civil environmental geodetic and civil environmental engineering, and then I was adjunct graduate faculty in biomedical engineering as well as in the Department of Humanities. And my sadhana, I considered myself to be a sadhak. My sadhana started as soon as I landed in America, because what I learned back in India about my own tradition, whether you're talking about the history, you're talking about the Sanskriti, you're talking about the Darshan Shastra, or you're talking about no matter what aspect of the Hindu wisdom tradition you are talking about, I was trained and educated as a big zero. My journey started right here in this America, land of America. And my journey started with the Western tradition. I'm trained as a mechanical engineer, all the way up to PhD in applied mathematics and mechanics. And I had a desire to learn the world wisdom tradition. Very, very strong, so I start my journey here, going through all kinds of disciplines, all the way back to Greek tradition, the inception of the thought process. So really I am kind of I call myself crazy, which is a good title for myself, and kind of a caveman, where I deal with all kinds of foundational principles in every discipline from anthropology to zebra, A through Z. Nothing gets out of my attention intensely, I try to do. So you might say, well, how much time do you get? You have on 24 hours, you have a family and all that. I said, yes, I'm busy 24 hours. My mind is working 24 hours. My sadhana is working 24 hours. So, and I come from what you call the tradition. Can I have a next slide, please? So kind of I must read the text. Yes, this is. It started with what we call the colonial era, and it's still there. And as you know, unless we throw out this colonial mentality, I call the mental slavery, we will never be able to understand East or West or the world. We will never be able to understand and comprehend. So this is where the next slide, please. So actually this tradition, if you look at the couple of very strong statements from Western tradition, 532 AD, one by what we call the Greco-Roman civilization, before it was supplanted and displaced and died out by Judeo-Christian tradition. And we see the same stars, the sky is shared by all, the same world surrounds us. What does it matter what wisdom a person uses to seek for truth? It was the pagan author. Pagan term relates to the ancient Roman and Greek tradition, means peasant class. But the pagan name was then converted by the Christian tradition to be a barbaric, illiterate, idiot, stupid. That's how the pagan term is used in contemporary world. So I would like to focus on the terminology as well as we go along. Then look at the Saint Augustine. There are two important theologians and intellectuals in the Christian tradition. One is the Saint Augustine, and he wrote that all superstition of pagans and heathens should be annihilated. Is what God wants, what commands, God proclaims. This particular dictum, this particular principle, this particular foundational idea still reverberates throughout the world wherever you see the traditional Catholic Christians. This was Saint Augustine. Then in 13th century, there was another theologian. What he did, Saint Augustine grafted the Platonic tradition onto the Christian Bible. There's Thomas Aquinas, 13th, 14th century, he grafted the Aristotle tradition onto the Christianity. Okay. Now, I was watching recently, I went to India for a tour and watching a movie called The Kesari. You might have heard of this. Kesari movie is the one that recently actually, very, very good movie, that how a small army, a small battalion, very, very small number, the Sikh battalion, could hold on before the fort can be captured by the Mughals. So, and this was the battalion part of the British battalion. So the British, the commandant tells the soldier, there's a dialogue there, beautiful, I captured, he said, well, you Indians are born to be slave and born to remain slave. This is the latest the dialogue which I heard in the movie Kesari. Please, next one. So what are the really burning issues? These are the burning issues that I see going through my educational career, where I've been training for masters, for PhDs, for undergraduate students from all over the world. Whether you are talking about the Chinese, Taiwanese, Japanese, Middle Eastern, Indians, Americans, Latinos, no matter what. So I have a first-hand experience what is going on in the minds of the younger generation. So in our tradition, the major disconnect is separation at all levels from ancient Vedic wisdom world. Major. Then I will come and elaborate on it. Then major disconnect, separation between personal life and professional life. Major disconnect. Major disconnect between younger generation, older generation. Big generation gap, and I will elaborate on as we go along. We follow some sanskars, and I will talk about those, but we follow superficially. We do not understand what they are, why we do, what we do, why we do, how we do. We simply listen and have a prasadam or have a party or food. That's what primary focus is. So how do you think our grandchildren, teenagers or younger, how they can connect them to what we are doing in these celebrations in sanskar? For example, rebirth phenomena, temples, organization, internet and other media have come up. I call the rebirth. Lot of organizations, lot of yogis, saints, sages, they have their own groups, and I have personal experiences working with many of these people. So I do not go hypothetical, I go with some of the examples that I deal with. But the conclusion, my conclusion is not enough. Still there is a disconnect. If, for example, let me give you the disconnect. If today, instead of my name, Shiv Chaturvedi, it would have been Yogi Chaturvedi or Yoganand or some Anand, and I have a changa, what you call the outfit, and I have a little organization and all that, more people will come. This is the disconnect. Whether the person who is talking about, see, I have been to many organizations. I have been to temple in Bharati Hindu Temple, Columbus, Ohio. I was the educational coordinator from the inception of the temple. In very many capacities I worked. You won't believe it. I tried my best. I used to invite speakers who talk about the relevant things going on in the temple. Outsider, the very many distinguished individuals. Many times I was the only listener. There's a big temple crowd, but when you invite somebody to talk about, learn about, that's where the disconnect is. Please, next slide. Okay, this is a very wonderful inspiration I got. This was in 1986. Is everyone hearing me loud and clear?
Yes.
Thank you so much, I appreciate it. This was 1986, I went to, I was invited to attend an international seminar of advanced materials and structures in Japan. And one morning on the breakfast table, I was sitting in, and just across me, there is another gentleman was sitting there. Short stature, little chubby, and at the time he was 82 years of age, just across me. So he asked me, where do you come from? I said, I'm coming from America. And he said, I can see your badge, that you are coming from America. But where are you originally from? I said, I'm from India. Born and raised and educated in India. As soon as he heard this, he extended his hand just across the small table and did this to my shoulder. And his eyes was full of tears. He said to me, you are like my son, I want to share two of my experiences. I said, okay, please, go ahead. But I was little taken back because he was in tears. And I did not recognize him. So I said, please, before you share your two things with me, could you please tell me who you are? What is your name? He said, yes, I am Koji Kawata. I said, the Professor Koji Kawata? Well, yes. At Tokyo University. I knew his work. I knew already his background. He was not the ordinary professor in Tokyo University. He was the primary architect of the science and technology policy of Japan after Second World War. Not ordinary person. He was the scientific advisor to all the governments after Second World War. He used to travel to India every month and world around every month. And he wanted to bring up the science and technology field far beyond the American dream. And he did it. So he was the primary architect. And he said, I have two things to share with you. Number one, I have two mothers. It's a romanchakari for me. I have two mothers. Japan, land of Japan is my first mother because I'm born here and brought up here. Second mother is India, where all the intellectual wisdom I got from India. These are my two mothers. And it was very, very enlightening experience for me. Second thing, and this connects to this one here. Second thing, I am also crying, he said, I am also crying because the younger generation of Japanese, they do not have any mothers. And my dear friends, for how much after 600 AD, all the way till now, I don't think I could claim I had any mother. In real sense. But I have several mothers, and my first mother is the Shiksha Guru, and my mother Bharati, land of India. And my second mother is land of America, because I became a Karmayogi here. I had all education in India. I cannot give them back anything. And I did. This become my karma. How? So we have to connect. If we do not connect, I think most of us have it, two bhumis, two mothers. As far as the lands are concerned, and the lokas are concerned, we have two mothers, here and there. In our coming generations, our offspring, our sons and daughters, grandsons and granddaughters, they have to have at least two mothers. They are born here, their mother, but really the wisdom has to come from our ancient land of India, Bharat. Please move on. Some clarification I want to do here, because I see a lot of confusion, a lot of conflict. One of the important things that I have been doing for the last more than 20 years, and I will give you example when you ask the question, because please follow the time limit, shut me out. Whenever, give me 5 minutes in advance. If I request you additional 5 minutes, please be kind to me. If not, then whatever. Most of the, for example, greatest tragedy happens to the Indian wisdom tradition when the Sanatana Dharma was translated as a religion. I have been in the religious department. I have been in the department of Humanities, Comparative studies. If I walk through the aisles of the Department of Humanities and Department of Religion, and I introduce myself, I am coming from the Department of Civil Engineering, they will say, what are you doing over here? Similarly, if a person from religious background, a faculty, an educated person, if he or she walks down the aisle of Science and Technology department, they will ask the same question, what are you doing here? You do not belong here. My dear friends, I know the very psychic foundation of the world, whether east or west. Same department of mathematics, some of the applied mathematics people and pure mathematics, they don't go along, they hate each other. If you are in this discipline or that discipline, within the same department, they don't like each other. I will not go on because I have too many things to talk about here. So please let us hold on to here. And I call the result is pollution, corruption, uprooting of Vedic wisdom tradition. And not only that, subjugation, humiliation, slavery of India and our people. If you look at the internet, look at all the Mahatmas' internets, all the organized internet, they will always Atman, they have translated as soul. Adhyatma, they have translated as spirituality. I don't know what you're talking about. I presented papers in the International Vedanta Conference and challenged the people. I have done a lot of research, lot of reading, lot of churning myself. I've done a lot of experiments, psychological on myself. All this is bogus. What it does? Oh yes. Oh, you are spiritual, I'm also spiritual, so what's the difference? One competition, a girl wrote, a high school girl wrote in a competition at the temple on different topics, and she wrote on the religion, Hindu religion, and he wrote a paragraph, when all religions are same, why do I have to follow Hindu religion? The team which was supposed to evaluate for giving them prizes, that team sent me that paper to me. Will you please comment on this? I said, yes. I think she deserves a prize. Because that we have been telling for last 1,000 years. All religions are same, all ideas are same. This is a real tragedy. We have been subjugated mentally. There is another slavery, what we call the educational slavery, through the incorrect understanding and translation of the highly technical term. Actually, I had to defend myself in International Vedanta Conference in front of 200 people, 250 people or so. When one Swamiji, I don't want to name him, I have big respect for him, when I bow down to him in the morning, he was the Southeast, the New York Center, he was the big, Ramakrishna Mission Center, Swamiji. I bowed down, I turned his pulse to him, and he said, hello. Hello, hi. I was expecting the Asirvadam. He said, hello, hi. I was taken back. Okay, fine. He was one of the panelists where I had to stand up. And I said, well, in this panel, people have said several times, somebody has said several times, all religions are same, all religions are same, or I do not understand, please explain to me. And I said, well, but I want to tell you in advance, so explanation has to be authentic, that I am professor at Ohio State University. The Swamiji then got up and he was so angry. His face was very, very tense and red, and he did this. He could not explain. And he said, well, you can consider me idiot. I am an idiot, explain to me. All thoughts and all ideas of the foundation are the same. What do you mean by it? I'm not questioning that your statement is wrong. What I'm questioning, I don't understand, please explain to me. He could not. Then another professor of philosophy stood up. Well, I am also an idiot. And I want to, there was a big chaos there. The coordinator, Dr. Pappu Rao, said, please, do not do that. So session is suspended. So I'm giving you one personal example that I have seen this. All this technical terminology that you see is a trap. And not only we are saying, I'm not the only one saying. It has been said in 1920s publication from Harvard University Classic Series. Professor there, I forgot the name, he said, yeah, these terms cannot be translated in English language. They have to be used exactly the same term and then explain them what they mean by them. Anyway, so I am giving this one. Yoga versus yoga, you might have heard of this. There's a confusion all the time. Rama versus Ram, Mahabharata versus Mahabharata. Do you see the confusion here? Why is the confusion? The confusion comes from this. This is source of confusion. In Hindi language, there are only two sounds. In Sanskrit language, there are three sounds. Okay, if you write yo by your G, G is half in the Sanskrit language. Ga is half in the Sanskrit language. Halan. So you have to write, if you are writing Sanskrit language, you have to write Y-O-G-A, yoga, 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 yoga becomes yog and yoga. So all the consonants are halan, half in the Sanskrit language tradition. In Hindi we have merged only 2 sounds. Similarly, 3 sounds in our classical music tradition. There are 3 sounds: Madhyam, Tibr, and Komal. Komal, Madhyam, Tibr. Consistently based on the Sanskrit tradition. So that's where the difference is. So Mahabharata, you have to write A if you are writing a Sanskrit terminology. You have to write A. And if you want AA, normally you have a, what you call a line over the A. So then you call Mahabharata. That's the difference. Now let's look at these terms which are so confusing because they have been mistranslated in English language. Let me give you a simple example. Example is like this. Everyone eats food. Okay? How do you prepare a sabji? You have to have ingredients. Particular sabji, you have to have ingredients. You prepare the ingredients, collect the ingredients, particular amount, measure them, and then this whole thing has to be mixed, and then has to be cooked in a particular process, has to be applied, and then you have a particular sabji. So during ingredients, what ingredients, how much is ingredients, how to mix, this is all the jnana, Vishesh jnana. This is called the Vijnana. And once we have made everything, how do you get the end product? End product is definitely different from each individual product. End product is not the sum of all individual products. It's a very different, don't you think so? If you change the process, taste changes. This becomes what we call this entity then becomes the jnana. It means I know I have to prepare this. How do I prepare? That's the Vijnana. This I have prepared. Then the process of preparing this, combining this, is called the yoga. And I'm developing totally new, coursework and ideas which have not come up yet in the world, in the Hindu wisdom tradition. I call it the Adi-Bhautik Yoga. My goodness, can you believe that? Now you hold on to this. I'm preparing the sabji and enjoying the sabji. And sabji is such that it is nutritious as well as swadist, delicious. If these 2 characteristics are there, then eating that sabji over and over, that becomes the dharma. My wonderful. Look at the language, for example, any language. If you combine the letters together, they become the word. Combine words together properly, they become the sentences. Combined sentences together become the paragraph. Combined paragraph all together, you have a big theme, the book or chapters. This is progressively yoga process. This is progressive yoga process. So actually, we are sitting together here with one intention, with one viewpoint. I have come to listen to someone. Don't you think so? Yes. That becomes the yoga process. If you are all over the place, not listening, this is called the kuyoga. I will not go into the, I do the Sabda Brahman, Chintan on Sabda Brahman. I will not go into detail, give you some flavor. This gathering, that's what I talk about gathering. Please, next slide, please. So the Lokasangraha, before I define what you mean by Lokasangraha, Karmayoga-Dharma, it starts from here. This is the Vedic mantra. Om Sahana Vavatu, सहना भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्युषावहै ओम शांति शांति शांति. This is the initiatory invocation of the mantra called. This relates to the first expression of the Lokasangraha Yoga. What is said? Let's together be protected. Don't you think so? You don't want to be gathered somewhere where security is in question mark. Let us together be nourished. Let us together join our mental force and strength for benefit of humanity. Let our efforts and learning be luminous and filled with joy, endowed with the force of purpose. Let us never be poisoned with the seeds of hatred for anyone. Let there be peace, serenity among us. Hatred, raga, dvesha, this is the center of our cognitive emotional structure. If you are running an organization, it's difficult to run properly because there are a lot of individuals who want to become the king. They will hate each other. I have seen many such organizations being destroyed because of the individuals. Many temples are in trouble in America because of this problem. This temple belongs to me. This temple, my dear, I have one of the discussion in the earliest phase of my temple in Columbus, Ohio. The board of trustees, I said, well, let me give you my experience and little words of wisdom. Make sure as soon as you talk about temple, enter the temple, this does not belong to anyone, it belongs to the divine. We are simply, we can be a servant. We can be servant only. Temple does not belong to you or I. If that is not the training we have, if that's not the consciousness that we have, then not going to work. No organization is going to work. So this is the one, and then it reflects wonderfully because what I am going to tell you next one, please. Thank you. This is from Bhagavad Gita. Karmandayi sansiddham asita janakadaya lokasangrahe vapi sampasyan kartumarhasi yadadacharati shrestha tattadeva tarojana sayat pramana kurte lokastadamvartate. Oh my goodness. If we ourselves, this is the really crux of the problem. And I will define in the next slide the Lokasangraha, what it is. But here look at the very beautifully, it says that whatever action great persons perform, common people will follow. I have been parents, and you have been parents and grandparents. I have seen Indian company across the globe. Okay? We have what we call armchair talkers, party people. If you really here do that, today is going to be, a lunch will be served after the talk, you will see a lot of crowd. This is our mentality. And you're talking about the human wisdom. Some of you are working here, thinking about here, coming over here, and my goodness, what? This is a seva bhav. Do you get something personal out of it? Yes. Upliftment, personal seva bhav, personal divine inspiration. That's all you get. But most people don't. So what? Most of the parents, grandparents, whatever there, after they retire or even they are not retired, they sit in front of TV and watch and waste their time, valuable time. Life is not going to come back. And they cry, they will cry out, I tell you. I've seen crying. I have seen with my own eyes crying the very best intellectuals, some of the best people who have a lot of money, some of the people who have a lot of political power, crying, what do I do? I have a lot of examples, personal, encounters with such people. Why? Because I ask my grandson to do, I don't do. You do, I don't do. Don't do this, but I will do. Behind your back. This is not yoga. This is not yoga. This is the yoga that we talk about next. Okay, this is the big picture I'm telling you. Now, it has a lot of theory of knowledge, which I'm not going to talk about. Okay, this is what is called the representation. It starts with A, individual, then B, then C, then D, then E, and F, G, H. And my dear friend, these are the different levels of what we call the Lokasangraha Karmayoga. And this is the crux of the Hindu wisdom. And I will, if you want to invite me next time, I will talk about this only. What do you mean by this? This is the foundation of Lokasangraha. This is the very foundation of our existence that we are talking about. Pinda, Brahmanda, and in fact, whatever is within each of us in this body, Sharira, also exists outside in this cosmos. It has a great science involved in this statement. You cannot isolate. Here is the doctor sitting there, the many doctors sitting here. If I go to doctor's office and you have physical checkup, okay, they will give you all the blood test results, this and that. They say, oh, everything's okay. You are just normal. How do you know? Your reading alone does not make any sense whatsoever. They have statistical data available from the Loka, from all kinds of people, coming from your place. You are African American, you are this ethnic group, this is the range of your calcium level, this is the range of this level, don't you? So my identification of this Sharira depends also identification of the rest of the humanity. Don't you think so? How do you know, your everything is okay? Doctor say, well, this is the data based on large samples. So your definition of individuality does contain all these. And this is the basis of also what you call the Devataon ka influence aap ke upar, planets ka influence aap ke upar. Whatever happens on the moon, whatever happens to the sun, it affects each and every individual and elements on this planet. Look at the latest sciences and technology. We are all connected, so interconnected. And this connectivity is not a mechanical connectivity. This is not a chemical connectivity alone. This is yogic connectivity. And I'm not going to go into the human body furthermore, so keep that in mind. So we have to really have a thought process that I am sitting here, I am really interconnected with everything else. So when I am serving you, here my friend, I am doing some service to him, it does not mean that he is separate from me. I am serving myself too. Because we are all interconnected, so something happens to him, is going to happen adversely or positively, is going to impact me too. Please go ahead. So what happens in the Hindu civilization? We have a serious lack of wisdom-based education, theoretical as well as practical. As a result, we have confusion, conflict, discontinuity, compartmentalization. Sciences, humanities, art, between generation, between personal, family, all kinds of relations. You are a very distinguished individual, and I will ask you toward the end of my talk to give me some dakshina. So keep ready your pocket.